My Thoughts on G Bleu Radio, powered by Blog Talk Radio for Graffiti Bleu, worldwide at gbleu.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dudes and dudettes, the sexy and the not so sexy, big children and little. I am the novelist, author, poet, Lamont Anthony Wright, aka Graffiti Bleu. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here. This is an experiment. This is a return to form. This is part one of 3 video podcasts that I'm going to do. Started out podcasting about 2 or 3 years ago. I was working for a fella that used to work for Universal by the name of Shaki Abdul. Shout out to Vaughn Lynn and my man in New York and Culture Zine Media. But now I am an independent fellow working for himself, the sole proprietor of my own brand, which is Graffiti Bleu worldwide. Go to gbleu.com to see what I'm about. Follow me on Twitter, graffiti_BLEU. Follow me on Facebook. Subscribe. I'm putting this up on my opposite channel because I'm saving the Graffiti Bleu YouTube channel for more artistic endeavors, not saying that podcasting isn't an art unto itself. I am in the midst of a rebooting a lot of things. I used to run a poetry venue and I used to do a whole bunch of creative things, but now it's time to gain some focus because it is time for me to dig into my next 2 novels. Yes, in the beginning when I was saying I'm a novelist, author, and poet, I take my novel game very seriously. That is the foundation of gbleu.com. For all of those who do not know me, I am the author of the Poet's Pursuit of Pleasure series of books, romance novels. Book 1 is An Emotional Affair. Book 2 is Intimate Rivals. Book 3 is a Simone Chiavari story. And I am fast and furious with closing in on writing my last chapter of Book 4, which is The Hustler's Code. So, why are we here? Why are you not writing and why are you podcasting? Well, I'm a creative and I'm so inspired to create and share and do these things that I personally need more than one way to express myself or I would go crazy. So, to start, and again, this is something I love to do. But I also love participation, so I'm going to leave it to the audience out here. These episodes here are going to primarily be on my other channel and not on the main Graffiti Bleu channel. So you guys let me know what you think. If you guys like this content or the content I put out, then fantastic. Show your love. So like, share, subscribe, all of those things, comment, whatever. Pretty much I'm going to express myself anyway. And that's just what it is. So let's get right down to it. This is part 1 of 3. I have a few choice things to say. And one of them is just basically this first episode. I really wanted to focus on entrepreneurial endeavors, paying attention to the fashion industry in particular. A lot of people don't know the history of me. I will peel back the layers of my history as we go along. You guys didn't come here for a autobiography. You guys came here for what the F is this Negro going to say? So I'm just going to say it. I'm talking about entrepreneurial endeavors as a creative, and I'm using the fashion industry as an example. I'm not taking shots at anybody I know in the fashion industry. I really don't have any skin in the game. I like nice things. You wouldn't know that because today I'm in a Nike suit because I just came from the gym and I wanted to get my podcast gun off before I hit the shower. That's just what it is. So, there are, and it bothers me, and that's the reason why I'm making this podcast it is what it is, but there are a lot of creatives out in the game that seem to be very lost. There are a lot of creatives that don't know how to go into their selves, find out who they are, and then through that knowledge of self, then express themselves. Now, everybody's journey is what their journey is, so it might not be your time to really find out who you really are. But I figure since there are so many things out here distracting us, then why not provide an avenue for those who are looking to be less distracted? Why don't I provide an alternative way, or throw my hat into the fire, so to speak, onto why you may be lost? Well, I noticed the shift in the generations, right? And this generation in particular, and I love what the kids are doing. I love what the kids are doing on all fronts, and on the business side, on the hip hop side. Everything might not be for me or the way they may go about it, but I do not disrespect youth culture at all, because in all reality, were the older folks or the older cats that may be listening to this podcast, we were the younger cats too. And I remember how my grandmother looked at me when I came home with the high top fade and the earring in my ear and the polyester hammer pants. And it was crazy. My grandmother was like, "What's wrong with this kid?" I had the designs carved up in my head from the New Tribe Barbershop. Shout out to Southside Jamaica Queens. Shout out to Hollis Queens. Shout out to Queens and every other borough there is of the of the city. So we were the weird ones once. We were the weird kids way back. So just because I may not understand, I may not be able to relate to everything the kids are doing, don't mean that I take a shot at the kids. That being said, the new attitude towards some, not all, but towards some, that says kind of, well, fuck what y'all did back in the day. Fuck the vets. Fuck anything y'all got to say. We're here now. We're what's popping now. Y'all were what popping. Get out the way. Let us eat. Let us do us. We need each other. Okay? There is no separation. You know what I mean? There is no new school without the old school. There is no old school without the new school. Period. And it is not wise to be dismissive of any wisdom. It is not wise for the youth to dismiss the wisdom of their elders. It is certainly not wise for the elders to think that the kids should be seen and not heard. We are supposed to listen to each other. That is what causes higher understanding, period. And I will use fashion as this model. Now, a lot of people may not know that once upon a time, me, my man Vonlin Belgrave, and my man Rick Coley used to run a modeling agency called Men and Women of Exquisite Talent back in New York City. It was an interesting ride. You figure I was 19, 20, 21 years old while this was going down. And I learned quite many things as a young man coming up in the rap game and in the fashion industry at the same time. A lot of cats didn't know that. Shout out to Shasha. She was our fashion coordinator. Now, this woman was straight fire. This woman had a set number of seamstresses that she could go to that could make things. She had people that she could go to that had fabric. She had fabric vendors all over the place. You give Shasha a sewing machine and some fabric and lock her in a room and she could make you something. She was the type of woman that could look at your neck and say, oh, okay, Lamont, you're about a size 16 and a half inch neck. Your arm length is this. Your pants leg is about a 33, 34. Your waist is about a 34, 36, and so on. And that to me is how fashion was, at least in the 90s. No disrespect to anybody doing the fashion thing today. However, today, it seems as if you get you a poppin' logo and put it across the t-shirt, you are in business. I am not mad at the game. All I am saying on this podcast today is, are you being all that you could be? Okay? Now, there's a lot of t-shirt hustles out there. In the example of I Am Loaded Lux, my favorite battle rapper in the whole world. Follow I Am Loaded Lux on Twitter. That's my guy. Legend. Probably, arguably, the best rapper. He's in my top 5. Eminem is here. Biggie is here. Jay is here. Nas is here. Redman and Loaded Lux are fighting for the next slot, my opinion, right? So it's like he had a slogan that said, "You gonna get this work." When he battled Calico, I believe it was at Summer Madness 2. He said, "I am gonna get this work." Jay-Z retweeted out the words, "You're gonna get this work." And it was the hottest catchphrase in all of hip hop for a time, right? So Loaded Lux capitalized off of this fact, right? He came out, he went and got a whole bunch of t-shirts that said, "You're gonna get this work," sold them at IamLoadedLux.com, and according to his lyrics, I cannot verify this information for sure, but according to his record, he said they did about $100,000 or $200,000 off of the merch. Now, when you are coming close to $250,000 in merchandise, do I argue and say because I can't lock Loaded Lux in a room with a sewing machine and fabric just because he can't make a t-shirt or might not be able to make a t-shirt, is he not a businessman? Is he not in the fashion industry doing those kind of numbers? And I understand the argument of the youth. However, what if he took it a step further? He might not want to, but for the cats that do. So the thinking of the new school, or some cats in the new school, I don't want to paint a broad brush across everybody, because just because you're young doesn't mean you're dumb, okay? It doesn't mean you think like that. I'm just saying. But there are a lot of people, young and old actually, that figure they could just put a logo across a t-shirt and they often run it. And then they wonder why things don't pop off. You know what I mean? In my mind, if you want to be serious about something like writing, I love writing novels and writing poems and writing stories and writing hip hop songs. I just love writing, period. So what do? I write every day. If not every day, I write every other day. Even if it's just a concept. Why? Because I want my pen to be razor sharp. So to me, if I was in the fashion industry, now you don't have to do what I would do, right? Because we all have our journey to walk. But it's like, how many? If you're a true fashionista, how many fashion shows are you going to? Are you on the fashion blogs? Are you finding out what's hot and what's not? Do you know where the fabric is that you need to get? Do you have the guys who make fabric in your Rolodex? Or we just got a logo on our computer? I can type in a logo right now, on my computer, and get t-shirts made. We going into 2020 now. Does that mean I'm a fashion icon? You follow what I'm saying? So there should just be a little bit more to it. There should be, to me, if you call yourself whatever you call yourself, in this case, I'm picking on fashion, right? Well, and I'm not throwing any shade to any of the guys and girls that I know that are getting their fashion hustle on. I buy their clothing, I wear their clothing, I support them. And y'all know this, and I know this, and they know this. But I'm saying, if you are a fashion icon or you want to be, then your fashion IQ, in my opinion, should be higher than mine. If I'm a writer, then I should have a higher storytelling, poetry, hip hop IQ than just John Q. average guy who is not a writer, who is not an MC, who is not a blogger, and so on. You follow what I'm saying? And that's all I'm saying, is a lot of us are just very content with Facebook, Twitter, for Facebook likes, and Twitter retweets. Let's keep it a buck. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100. Some people could put some promo material out on social media, and if a lot of people fuck with it, in their mind, oh, today was a good promo day. But is that promo equating to sales? How many people promoted your product? Whatever it is. Could be a book. Could be a download. Whatever. I'm not just picking on fashion. Out of those 1,000 likes you got, how many people bought anything? How many people bought anything? This is what I'm saying. We got to do better. So this is just part 1 of 3. And I'm just saying what I'm saying. So this is basically in the line of we could do better. And I'm going to end this. I won't end every podcast with a poem, but I just wrote this poem and I think it's appropriate here, right? It's called, Is This the Best We Can Do? I hope you like it. Shout out to Erykah Badu, because I am also an artist who is sensitive about his shit. Okay? So if you like this poem, leave a like on the video. If you don't like the poem, send me an email and tell me that I could do better. Is this really the best we could do? Love thy neighbor is a difficult concept. United we stand, divided we fall is something we don't get. Open your heart is something we can't let happen. Is disrespect really the foundation of everyone rapping? Or are we sadistic and sadomasochistic, rubbernecking the car accident as it happens? Why are drug dealers taking so much pride in genocide? As a matter of fact, why is there so much pride in that? All drugs I'm familiar with sell themselves. There's no salesmanship or charisma necessary to move any type of feel good from point A to point B. As a matter of fact, facts don't seem to matter in this reality. White Jesus is everywhere, even though we know his skin was bronze and wool was the description to describe his hair. We know teachers are underpaid and we expect them to care. We see injustice every day and say that isn't fair. But few would do a damn thing about it. We'll get a hashtag if we're lucky. If enough people write a tweet about it, but I doubt it. Is this the best we can do? We still expect that which has never been done, such as a rich politician being in the best interest of those who are oppressed. Everyone claims that they ain't racist, yet racism still exists. Everyone knows that the media is controlled by those who lie, yet we watch it while eating our favorite snacks. Perhaps the processed sugar helps us swallow the truth we don't believe. We know love is the answer, yet we never ask the question, how are we doing? Are we okay? What do you need for us to succeed? How can I help? Are you really ride or die? If you're riding by yourself, excuse me while I switch gears, ease off the clutch, change the direction and such. Artistic expression is my current destination. Hopefully we will discover how to unplug ourselves from the matrix along the way. We all know that independent artists need support, but what's the last independent project you went out and bought? But I can't sit here and act like it's someone else's fault when mastery of one's craft, self-promotion, and attention to one's overall brand isn't brought to the table like pepper and salt. Is this the best we can do? Some women say there are no good men. Some men say happy wife, happy life. And none of them are right. Both statements by both sexes lack ownership and personal responsibility, which is the whole point of this poem. Is this the best that we can do? Of course not. We all have way more power than we think we do. We tell ourselves all the time that one person can't make a difference, yet deep down, we know that isn't true. We can be more involved and or more engaged in the things that matter most. Focus your mind and stop distracting yourself. Only love the worthy. And when they are, keep them close. Graffiti.